Hello everyone, this is Cryptor, and today I want to talk about Fetch AI. Fetch is one of the few projects that I'm really excited about. If the team managed to do everything they plan, the world will never be the same. But before I start my review, I just want to say that this project is very complicated and ambitious. Maybe you will not be able to clearly understand certain aspects of what is being said, but I will definitely give many examples at the end of this video, so stay tuned. Fetch is a decentralized digital world in which useful economic activity takes place. This activity is performed by autonomous economic agents. These are digital entities they can transact independently of human intervention. These agents can be anyone or anything. They can represent an individual, a car, an enterprise, any device, or even a temperature sensor or motion sensor. As soon as the agent is assigned to a specific role, it can act on behalf of this object. Agents can work independently or collectively to solve modern complex problems. Like a colony of ants or bees, they can work together if they were one organism. And with the help of these agents, the platform allows you to create different AI and machine learning algorithms in a decentralized way. Fetch will also create a prediction market. Why do we need a prediction market? Well, any person, a business, or even a computer needs predictions to make right decisions independently. For example, the weather forecast, or what will be the price of specific goods in the next 15 years, or in logistics, how to build a high quality transportation schedule. All these are predictions, and we need them. Fetch allows to build such predictions in a decentralized way, when anyone can participate in this process. So you don't have to be a large enterprise with a huge amount of machine learning engineers. Plus, Fetch allows you to create prediction models without the risk of losing your data, so your information or information of any company remains with them. And prediction models created can be used by autonomous agents. Fetch helps these agents to exchange economic values, to connecting people with value to people who need this value. But this is not only about people. In fact, an interested party can be a company, a computer, other devices, and Fetch allows them to connect autonomously and autonomously exchange values. The digital world that agents inhabit is called Open Economic Framework. It acts as ultimate data-sharing agency in which every agent sees the world optimized for him in real time, where important things are clear and visible and less important things are simply removed. Open Economic Framework gives agents feelings, sight, touch, hearing, to provide a unique picture of the world for each of them. The basis of this digital world is a smart ledger. It's a new generation of self-learning ledgers that provides a super collective intelligence for each agent, even though that every agent is intelligent on its own. Fetch has created a blockchain that is a smart ledger, while other ledgers are dumb. But what does it mean, smart? Well, first of all, it's a ledger that can intelligently connect you with other participants. You don't need to spend time looking for the agent you need. Because, for instance, when you use internet with billions of websites to look for something specific, the first thing you do, you go to Google, and Google intelligently bring to you those sites where you can find things you are looking for. And now let's imagine that there's billions of agents. So how can you find the one that has some information or prediction that you need? And at the same time, how can you trust that information or prediction? All this should come from some system that keeps records, which will allow you to make independent decisions to find parties you need without external interference. And this is the key component of Fetch Smart Ledger. Such blockchain has to be scalable, as many transactions are taking place. And it's not only about economic exchanges, it's also about search transactions and transactions of establishing connections between agents. But when parties exchange with each other, the biggest problem is trust. How can you trust someone else? This trust indicator is formed from exchanges that were completed in the past. If you exchange with another wallet that belongs to an autonomous agent, you need to have a certain trust rating to it. This rating system is built into Fetch Smart Ledger. Despite the fact that there are many layers of this ledger, scalability is also very important. Most existing networks, such as Ethereum, have very small bandwidth, finality 10-20 seconds, but autonomous economic agents exchange in milliseconds to make a decision much faster than standard systems can allow you. And it is not only about making decisions, but also about transactions and the exchange of value. All of these functions should be a part of this ledger, and that's what makes it smart. To achieve the desired scalability, Fetch uses a concept of resource lanes. It's a form of sharding, but the intelligent one. For example, if a transaction is made between New York and Sydney, then these transactions are divided into transaction lanes, when the other lanes do not need to be involved in these transactions. And in fact, instead of the ledger being completed all the time, it is possible to have completed resource lanes for the completeness of the entire ledger, and this approach greatly increases the speed of transactions. Plus, Fetch uses a very interesting consensus mechanism. To make it simple, it's a combination of proof of stake and useful proof of work. Proof of stake is itself a very fast consensus, but Fetch's proof of stake has some unique features. We are not going to talk much about it. You can find all the information you need on their website. For now, just know that Fetch combines unique proof of stake and useful proof of work. And using this combination, Fetch reaches fast consensus, creates a smart ledger, and optimizes its work. Nowadays, we are surrounded by various electronic devices. And I'm not only talking about phones and computers. There are refrigerators, kettles, toasters, washing machines, vacuum cleaners, drones, etc. Fetch wants to bring context to all these devices so that they know their owners and know what is happening around them. At the moment, the technology is arranged in such a way that interactions are held vertically, in separate dimensions, but people do not live in these verticals. The goal of Fetch is to create prediction models not only on the basis of vertical interactions, but in order to allow the entire space to find relationships in the variety of dimensions. So Fetch is a collection of dimensions where autonomous agents can interact, and setting up the agent will ultimately look like the movement of slides on the website, where you can specify the level of autonomy of each agent. The same thing with your phone. You can just run the application where all the smartphone's capabilities will be listed, including cameras, microphones, accelerometer, gyroscope, barometer, light sensor, fingerprint sensor. With all of these sensors, you can create your own autonomous agent that can exchange values and interact with other agents who need the information provided by your agent. You must understand that any information has some value, but in most cases, extracting that value can cost much more than the value itself. But Fetch allows you to extract value from any information. We, as human beings, will need to get used to such things, because it will bring efficiency to our lives. There is a huge amount of information, different devices, and things to which we gradually get used to, and to bring some small level of autonomy to all of this will not make it bad. Moreover, you can configure the level of autonomy for each of the agents yourself. Let's say travel. If you want to go somewhere, it can be a nightmare since you don't have your travel agent to whom you can call and say where you want to go, when, and in what condition you want to live. And then he will order a taxi, a plane ticket, a bus, a hotel, or whatever. On your own, even just finding right websites can take a lot of time, and it gets harder and harder. But good travel agent just knows the context behind you. In other words, he knows you, and therefore he knows your preferences. But what if you can create autonomous agent who knows all your needs and allow him to do the same? It will make your life so much easier. Or for example, Uber. Uber is an intermediary platform that helps to connect the client with the driver. But in Fetch World, every driver and client can have their own autonomous agents that can communicate, find each other, and do economic exchanges. So if you give agents some degree of independence and the ability to interact with other agents, a friction will simply disappear in many processes. And I'm not saying here that these agents will manage your life and the toaster will begin to make completely independent decisions that you don't need. Yes, a fridge can order a water or a bottle of milk which corresponds to your preferences up to the level of fat, the date of manufacture, the expiration date, but it will never buy a house on your behalf. Now let's talk about the team. The core team consists of 43 employees, 8 of which are working on the blockchain aspect. There are 4 economists to create the proper reward mechanism and tokenomics. 13 people are machine learning PhDs who are working to create a neural network structure of interaction between agents so they can independently find solutions to any problems and build different predictions. Now, I'm not going to talk about all of them, just want to say that these are the smartest people in the industry, and let's focus on 2 main individuals. The CEO of Fetch, Hamayan, he was the early investor of DeepMind. For those who don't know, the DeepMind Technologies is a British artificial intelligence company founded in 2010, currently owned by Alphabet Inc. or Google. The company made headlines in 2016 after its AlphaGo program beat a human professional Go player for the first time, and Go is a very complex abstract strategy board game. The CTO of Fetch, Toby, also was involved in the DeepMind Technologies. He was a head of software design there for 2 years. He also took part in creating a Creatures game series in late 90s. It's an artificial live computer game. It focuses on alien creatures known as Norns, teaching them to survive, helping them explore their world, defending them against other species, and breeding them. Toby is a very interesting guy. I saw a lot of his interviews, and his vision of Fetch and the excitement in his eyes shows that he and the team are doing what they want and are able to bring the idea to life. And again, this vision is very, very interesting, and we all can benefit from it because they want to decentralize machine learning and big data. They want to say no to Facebooks, Googles, and so on. And now let's talk about the roadmap. So the mainnet with all its features will be live in summer 2019. But Fetch Smart Ledger has already been developed. It's up and running in the test mode for half a year or so. The source code is also available on GitHub, so if you are a developer, you can try to compile it and check how scalable it is. And the team at the moment is developing different autonomous agents for different purposes and working with partners. So something is always happening under the hood of this project. And by the way, let's talk about partners for now. So Fetch is working with Mobi, the Mobility Open Blockchain Initiative. It's a consortium that was created by leading automakers including Renault, Ford, GM, and BMW. Outlier Ventures is investor of Fetch. They also help Fetch with market making, conferences, and other things. There are a few other partners, but Fetch don't want to unveil them at the moment, so we're not gonna talk about them. Instead, let's discuss some use cases. For instance, Mobi, and auto industry in general. The leader in artificial intelligence and self-driving cars is no doubt Tesla Motors. But Tesla has a lot of problems, and most of them are not about Tesla, it's about other cars. Of course, Tesla cars can see things that surround them, but they cannot see ahead of 4 or 5 cars. And Fetch can solve this problem for every manufacturer, because every car can have its own autonomous economic agent, and they can all communicate flawlessly, and each car will know who is running out of gas, who has problems with brakes, or which car wants to make a turn. And this is very powerful because with Fetch, every car can see absolutely everything. Or let's say logistics, when you're talking about transportation of goods. Again, with Fetch, there's no need to look for an empty container because it can have a sensor and it can tell that it's ready to be filled with something. I also like this example that I've heard from Toby. The fact that on Times Square or somewhere else, everyone simultaneously decided to put a cell phone in the pocket can tell you that it's raining out there, right? Or the fact that the car drivers use a lot of windshield cleaner but it's sunny out there, well, maybe it's because of insect migration. So you can imagine what types of predictions we can get with Fetch, because every bit of information has value. Maybe for some medical institute, it is important to know how many times a day you scratch your forehead, and you have a smartwatch that can sensor these movements so you can share this info and get rewarded, right? The whitelist is open. I don't know whether they will have an ICO or not, and this is not a financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, just my opinion. I like this project, so thanks for watching. This is the first time I do a review in English. Let me know your thoughts down below. Should I continue to make reviews in English with my terrible accent? So thanks again and peace out.